call at approximately 2:34 a.m. of a shooting just occurred at the 810 billiard and bowling alley. From there, we were notified that there was a single male who was shot and pronounced deceased on the scene on the third level just outside the front door. We were also informed that two other individuals had reported themselves by personal vehicle to local area hospitals on their own, both of them with non-life-threatening injuries, but a 23-year-old male and a 24-year-old female. Like I said, both of them are going to be okay, and we have spoken and gotten information from them to help us in this investigation. But the officers arriving on the scene, initial statements from employees working at the establishment notified us that there was an incident that occurred after the party had ended. There was a private party that was booked out for the event. And then after that ended, there was a large group of people who gathered at the front door area just outside of the building. And it led to an argument where the shooting took place from the disagreement.
You know what it is? Let's jump right into it. Takeoff of the Atlanta rap trio Migos. He was shot dead at 28. Let's jump right into this, people. The rapper known as Takeoff, a subtle vocal technician and one-third of the chart-topping group Migos, whose sing-song flow helped define Atlanta's ever-evolving, influential rap sound, was shot and killed overnight outside a Houston bowling alley. Now, the authorities said he was 28. Now, Chief Troy Finner of the Houston Police Department confirmed the rapper's death at a news conference on Tuesday afternoon. A 24-year-old woman and a 23-year-old man were taken to local hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries, the police said. Now, the police said that the shooting occurred after a private party had ended at 810 billiards and bowling, as a large group of about 40 people gathered near the front door on the third level. An argument ensued, and shots were fired. They said leading to many people fleeing. Now, we have no reason to believe that he was involved in anything criminal at the time, Chief Finner said of Takeoff, but no suspects have been arrested. Now, the authorities said, and they requested that any witnesses who left the scene come forward with additional information. Now, sometimes the hip-hop community gets a bad name, Chief Finner said. I'm calling up on everybody, our hip-hop artists in the Houston and around the nation. We've got to police ourselves. There are so many talented individuals, men and women in that community who, again, I love and I respect, and we will need to stand together and make sure no one tears down the industry. Now, with that being said, it was Takeoff's childhood obsession with Southern hip-hop that first inspired Migos as young teenagers in the Atlanta suburbs of Gwinnett County on its way to becoming one of the biggest rap acts of the last decade. Now, known for hits like Versace and Bad and Bougie, even as he dodged celebrity and maintained almost no public profile, Takeoff became a connoisseur's fan favorite of the trio and was credited with initiating the stuttering triplet delivery that came to infiltrate hip-hop and trickle into the pop sphere. Now, Drew Finling, a lawyer for Takeoff and confidant to many rap stars, called the news of his death a devastating loss, particularly for Atlanta. When you're around Takeoff, there's a sense of peacefulness about his aura. More, Finling said, he listens to you, he looks at you, he's more focused on what you have to say than what he has to say. Now, the world was starting to learn about Takeoff. It was his time to shine. Before becoming international rap superstars and ushering in a new period of dominance for Atlanta music in the streaming era, Migos, which has also included the rappers Offset and Quavo, was founded as a family bedroom act northeast of the city, in an area that the Migos came to brand as the North Side. Now, after releasing its first independent mixtape as Migos' Jug Season in 2011 and then gaining local buzz and tastemaker attention with the track Bando, the trio rose to national prominence with the single Versace in 2013. The remix, though never commercially released, featured an appearance by Drake, who mimicked the group's burgeoning signature pattern of rapid-fire roll-licking raps known as a triplet flow. Now, in which three syllables are piled rhythmically onto one beat to hypnotic effect. Now, a New York Times review of Migos' 2013 mixtape Wire In called the group insistent, noisy, and chaotic, and perpetually in filthy gear. Now, pairing a punchy rap style that could sound broody or elated with sticky, repetitive hooks like Takeoff's defining choruses on Fight Night and T-shirt, Migos' trademark delivery would go on to become a go-to mode for popular music throughout the 2010s. It's used by artists including Travis Scott and Ariana Grande in 2021. Now, former President Barack Obama put Straighten It from Migos' album Culture 3 on his summer playlist alongside songs by Rihanna, Joni Mitchell, and Stevie Wonder. Now, in late 2016 and early 2017, the group soared to A-list fame around the world thanks to Bad and Bougie, a spare, uncompromising track featuring Lil Uzi Vert, but not Takeoff, who was absent from the song. That spent 3 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Now, in what may be Takeoff's defining moment outside of the recording studio, he was once asked in a red carpet interview about being left off the track, drawing the visible ire of the entire group. Do it look like I'm left off Bad and Bougie? Takeoff responded, referring to sharing the financial windfall and fame with Quavo and Offset. The track became one of the first mega hits of the streaming era and has been streamed more than 1.5 billion times in the United States alone. Now, the group's subsequent 2017 album Culture debuted at number 1 on the Billboard chart and earned Migos one of its 2 Grammy nominations. In an interview with the New York Times, though, ahead of the album's release, Takeoff compared the moment to Christmas Eve. You just know that everything you ask for is going to be there, up and under that Christmas tree, he said, which is his often downcast eyes lighten up. It's our time now. In the years since, Migos has released 2 sequels to Culture and singles including Motorsport, I Get the Bag, and Walk It, Talk It. Also with Drake, Takeoff's solo album, The Last Rocket, came out in 2018 and debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200. Now, last month, Takeoff and Quavo, without the third Migos member Offset, released the album Only Built for Infinity Links, which went to number 7. Now, Takeoff, whose real name is Kirsanik Kahari Ball, was born on June 18, 1994, and grew up in Lawrenceville, GA. Now, he always wanted to rap. He told The Fader, a music magazine, in a 2013 interview, and found his group mates close to home. Takeoff and Quavo, his uncle, were raised by Quavo's mother, Edna, a hairstylist. She is frequently shouted out in Migos songs as Mama. Now, the first of the group to fall hard for rap music while the others played football, Takeoff soaked up music that he discovered online and bought at the flea market, particularly Southern rappers like Gucci Mane, T.I., Lil Wayne, and his early group, the Hot Boys, which provided a blueprint for Migos' later success. Now, as a duo initially called Polo Club, Takeoff and Quavo began performing music in their teens at the local skating rink and released a mixtape when Takeoff was still middle school aged. Now, Offset began spending time at Edna's house and considered Takeoff and Quavo his cousins. Together, they started to map out a sound, waterfalls of rolling verses, ecstatic chanted phrases, jabbing background, ad-libs, that was catchy and distinctive. The trio came to the notice of the local executives Pierre Thomas, known as P, and Kevin Lee, Coach K, who founded a label, Quality Control, around the trio in 2013. Of the local rapper and talent scout Gucci Mane, who had heard the group's early track Bando and then chose to sign them over with a cash deal. But hey, this is all some recent news. This is all some crazy stuff. I'm going to keep you updated. Stay tuned on these juicy news. I'm going to keep